She reminds Rin that last time they were talking about whether this is love or admiration, and she gave her reply by creating a heart with her hands. This made Rin happy and hugged Yuki. Rin tells her that spring break is coming closer, and during that time she likes to do her best to achieve something. Yuki asks what it is about. Rin added that somehow, she likes to be closer with Kyuya. Yuki asks if she knows whether Itsuomi and Kyuya have girlfriends, and Rin replies that it looks like they don't have one now. But Yuki thinks he's really popular. He's surrounded by beautiful people again, and she still don't know where the starting point is for her to do her best. And she thinks sometimes the people around her don't even notice her. Itsuomi notices Yuki and looks at her. She signs a greeting to Itsuomi, but he just stares at her. So, she asks what it is. Itsuomi sends her a text asking what she said in sign language just now. She explains that it means what or did something happen. After that Itsuomi copies it. Rin asks them to get a bit closer, but Yuki wonders if that's okay. She bows to the others and thought they look friendly. She then typed something on her phone and showed it to Itsuomi. It says, if he likes to learn sign language, she can teach him any time. He responds thank you. She then tells them that she has a report to turn in, then bowing very deeply before leaving. Yuki consciously asks herself if what she said earlier was okay and she didn't sound forceful. Yuki starts preparing notes of sign language for Itsuomi. She thinks how nice it would be if she can give it to him when she goes to the bar with Rin. But she thought she needs to find the right timing, and she needs to draw back immediately if it'll look like she's a bother to him. After trying to draw, she realizes how difficult it is than she thought. Suddenly, Yuki's mom asks her to go by the items written on the piece of paper handed to her and asks her what she is doing. She tells her through writing that she is preparing notes for sign language. Her mom asks her if it is for a friend, and Yuki nods in response. Her mom teases her how her drawings are not that good and left while laughing, which makes Yuki mad. Yuki thought how nice it would be if he would take a look at it. Good evening. Rin greeted the two at the bar. Yuki notices how Rin is less nervous than she was from the other time. Itsuomi handed Yuki the whiteboard. Rin then asks if Itsuomi plans to go somewhere during the spring break, and he replies that he'll go when she saves up enough money. Itsuomi and the others notice weird sounds coming out from Yuki's way. Then Rin tells her there is some sound coming out from Yuki's hearing aids. Itsuomi asks what was that sound. Yuki responds through writing that if hearing aids don't fit properly, they'll send out an acoustic feedback. He asks how much Yuki can actually hear. She responds that it is like all sounds are completely mixed up and she never heard any real sounds. She added that she can't tell where each sound is coming from, which surprises Itsuomi. He curiously asks if it is like this since her birth. She explains that if she takes the hearing aids off, she can't hear anything at all. Kyuya shoves Itsuomi, stopping him to ask any more, then apologizes in Itsu's behalf if he's asking so boldly. He then instructed Itsu to take care of the table over there. Yuki thought if it is interest or curiosity. Kyuya continues how Itsu communicates with just anyone without hesitation. Rin agrees to it. But for Yuki, whatever it may be, she is happy about it. Yuki then tries to get Itsuomi's attention by waving at him. Once Itsuomi notices her, she smiles brightly and gave Itsuomi a notebook. It is the notes for sign language. He immediately flips over the notebook trying to understand what is written in it. Then Yuki interrupted him, correcting his sign language. She noticed how long Itsuomi's fingers are. Once she realizes how close they were, she blushed and returned to her seat. Then Itsuomi remembers the face in the keychain. He tells Yuki that she is as red as the souvenir from Laos. Yuki changes the subject and asks if they use dollars in Laos. Itsuomi explains how the country's own currency is weak, that's why you can use dollar at several places. He continues to flip over the notebook again and tells her that he can't understand what the drawings in the book but thanks her for it. He asks Yuki to teach him directly. He then asks which words in sign language Yuki often uses. She wrote cute and thank you. He asks what's cute. Then Yuki started teaching some sign language to him face to face. Yuki thought Itsuomi is powerful. how he can wrap up anything and everything by using sign language. Itsuomi tilts Yuki's face up to him and asks what's wrong, and Rin interrupts him that doing something like that startles Yuki. So, he says sorry, and Yuki shakes her head in response. Yuki feels her heart beating so fast and consciously thinks if he can hear it. And she thought that right here is someone who is in love with him. She wrote that it is okay if it is Itsuomi. She asks herself if that did make him notice that she likes him, and if she fell in love with him, she wonders what to do. While showing Itsuomi the words she wrote, she thought that after all she didn't want him to see this, but it's too late. Itsuomi notes that he understands. Then a customer calls out and diverts Itsuomi's attention. She thought what he means by that, and did he take it as something with no deep meaning? So it must be he didn't notice then. Then Yuki erased the thing she wrote on her whiteboard. The bell rings as new customers arrive at the bar and calls out to Itsu. Then he asks how many bars have the two have been to since they're already wasted. And the guy responds that this is just the second one. He then looms over and says, "Excuse me." That startled Yuki. The girl named Emma then asks the guy, Shin, if he is alright in separate Shin with Yuki and apologizes. He notes that Yuki is cute, but Yuki can't understand what he is saying at all. Then he hands over his business card to Yuki and asks if she likes a hair makeover. Itsuomi grabs Shin by his clothes and tells Shin to come over and apologizes to Yuki. Yuki thought if they are his acquaintances and wonders if they're friends. Itsuomi then bring the two to another table. Kyuya then asks if Yuki is okay and writes on the whiteboard to tell that those two are Itsu's classmates in high school. And Rin also saw them for the first time today. Kyuya added that the guy with the sunglasses is pretty cool when he is sober. Yuki really can't imagine it. She thought how the effect of alcohol is amazing as she glances over to their table. Yuki saw how Emma is happily telling something to Itsu while clinging to him. This made her avert her gaze from them as she thinks of what she just saw. She thought that somehow even if she's drunk, the way she looks at Itsuomi is. She gasped to find Itsu suddenly in front of her talking to Kyuya. This made her nervous, thinking what might their relationship be. She remembers talking to Rin about Itsu not having a girlfriend, but who is that person then? Rin unexpectedly shocked to receive a message from her mom that she is coming over to Rin's house. She apologizes to Yuki that they need to go home now. While Kyuya sending them both off, Rin and Kyuya were a conversation how Rin is originally from Fukuoka but she doesn't have the dialect, and it is because Rin did her best to speak standard Japanese on the get-go. But Yuki is still thinking about what she saw earlier. She thought what she should do, and she's having a strange feeling. Then she saw Emma clinging to Itsu again. Rin also got shocked to ask what that is about. Yuki, while trying to be as natural as possible, asked if those two are going out. Kyuya tells them that they are not dating, they're friends, and he thinks they won't ever be dating in the future either. Rin asks why, but Kyuya apologizes since he shouldn't say any more about this. When Kyuya says it like that, she realizes more how it seems the relationship between these two is even more intimate. Kyuya then tells Yuki how he thinks that Itsu is really serious about learning the sign language and asks to please take care of him. Yuki smiles in reply. Itsu then approaches them to ask Kyo where he put the wine opener. Kyuya sends them off and asks them to please come again. Itsu looks at their way and he tells Yuki to take care on her way home from the inside of the bar. And Yuki smiles and waves goodbye to Itsu. She thought she must trust the bar manager about the relationship of the two. Rin started the conversation, how they made a little progress today and she's glad they get to talk about lots of things. She tells Yuki that they have to keep at it even more. Yuki thought yes to keep at it. She didn't know where the point for her to start was, but she already passed the point before she even knew it. And Yuki wants to do her best also. At Yuki's home, a text message is shown where she tells Itsu that she can teach him sign language any time again and thanks him for the treat. She already sent this 4 days ago and she got a reply after that says, yeah and good night from Itsu. Since then, they haven't been in contact. She thought if she should have texted any more than that afterwards, but she wonders if he's even in Japan right now. She internally screams and nervously sent a text to him asking if he is in Japan and got a quick reply. Itsu says that he is at a coin laundry near the university right now and asks if she wants to come or not. Surprised from the text she received, she replied she'll come. She went out quickly and her mom asks if she's going out just for a bit, and she gave an okay. Her mom says to come back before the curfew. So, she needs to come back home before 10 p.m. and it's 8 p.m. now and it takes 20 minutes to the coin laundry from there. She thought to shorten it by 2 minutes if she run. Now thinking about it, she realizes it's the first time that she meets someone outside at this time. Ashi spotted Yuki running and throws something at her to catch her attention. A tissue packet was thrown on her head and when she looks behind, she finds Ashi. He asks where she is going at this hour. She tells him she is in a hurry. He is pissed off and throw another to Yuki. She wonders he stops her even saying she is in a hurry. He asks if she's going to meet someone at this hour. She agrees somehow, he reiterates if it is not with a guy, but Yuki couldn't answer it. He can't believe that a guy calls Yuki at such a time. She tells him she'll be back before her curfew and told her parents about it too. Ashi asks if it was the silver-haired guy and tells Yuki that they should stop meeting because he's probably just playing with her. But Yuki denies it and tells him not to say that. If it's not playing, then he's just deceiving her, pretending to be so kind, Ashi said. But Yuki just ignores him. She already passed the starting point and since she started running, she cannot look back anymore. Yuki arrives at the laundry shop out of breath. There inside she finds Itsuomi sitting on a bench reading a book. She approaches him and sits on the other side of the bench. Afterwards, Itsuomi suddenly stands up and buys on a vendo machine for drinks and returns to Yuki asking if she wants to drink something. She holds up her wallet but Itsuomi tells her the money is fine but asking her if she has 10 yen so he can but something for himself as well. Itsuomi then offers a coin to her and asks if she wants to have that or not. He tells her if he's not mistaken, the coin must have the same worth as 10 yen, but she can't use it in Japan though. Yuki holds the coin and wonders which country's the currency is. Itsuomi tells her that kuna is the currency of Croatia. She thought how amazing it is since that is the first time she saw that coin and wonders what kind of bird that is. Itsuomi watches her as she stares at the coin he gave her. Yuki asks him why he goes abroad that often and he answers grinning that he'll tell her when they got to know each other a little bit better. She's shocked and thought that this guy is really something. Then she texts her, she wants to get to know him better. When Itsuomi turns to Yuki to look at her, he finds her blushing looking away. That's cute, he says. And Yuki thought that's what she taught him the other day. She then added that men don't really use that kind of sign language when they talk to a woman. It's usually just between women. Then he asks what the right sign language for him is. She pauses for a bit before sending it to Itsu. Stroking someone's head. Somehow, that's something he's already doing all the time. She blushes again while Itsuomi is thinking about it. Yuki wonders why he did that and thinks maybe it feels like stroking an animal to him. Itsuomi said to her that the world of sign language is interesting, and this makes Yuki turn red. While Yuki turns away and drinks, Itsuomi talks about when he met her for the first time, seeing how she used sign language, somehow it felt like the world that he had lived until now has been flipped over. He had lived abroad and because of that he is naturally interested in languages and cultures, and this is what motivated him. He has been only looking into the distance, but now he knows that everything has been close to him. Yuki then turns to him and wonders if he had said something. He suddenly asks if Yuki wants to get along with him. She types, yes, and she wants to get along with him even more. He asks what is more in sign language. Then she gestures the sign language thinking if he does this to change the subject. But Yuki repeatedly signs more, and more. Itsuomi grabs both her hands and holds it making her stop. He gently smiles at her and tells her that he got it. Yuki turns red thinking even though he's only holding her hands, it feels like Itsuomi is holding her in his palms. The freedom he's showing her makes her heart beat all the more. Itsuomi pulls her closer to his chest. Then utter words in German which means you are cute. She doesn't know why Itsuomi pulls her which make her heart beat loudly even more. Surprised how their faces are so close, she pulls away. Then Itsuomi laughed at her, making Yuki think if he is enjoying her reaction, but she thinks it's fine if that makes him smile. But Itsuomi is still holding her hands, she thought. He's holding her hands so tightly that they definitely can't be separated. And so does she just want to hold his hands tightly. Even though the squeezing hurts a bit, it doesn't seem real for her. Just a little bit more than an hour until the curfew. The snow that was falling down outside seemed to stop for a moment, and yet it was just a desire.